Hi everybody, and thank you for joining me today. So continuing to work on the garden wall, the edge of that pillar on the outside. Got a lot more confetti to get through today, that's for sure. Did a whole bunch of sky. That went by really quick. So, okay, 9, 6, 3. Oh, I think I bought this color just for this pattern. This is the first time I'm using it. Brand new. And all of this for one stitch. Ah, well. Those confetti stitches gotta be done sometime, right? Yeah, so I'm hoping the background noise isn't too bad. The air conditioner is running because we're having a bit of a heat wave here, so. Yeah. And the skies are blue. So, fingers crossed it'll stay that way. It's very nice to see after so much time of smoky skies. Yeah. Oh my goodness. There we go. Yeah, I will also point out that I'm starting this session after I did a whole bunch of stitching already. So if you see my stitch count at the end, I didn't do that many during the session. I'm already starting at 345, so yeah. Yeah, I was working on a bunch of sky that was just a few colors, lots of big blocks, so yeah, it went very, very quickly. Oh, that did not work. I have to go straight back down through the center of that fabric thread or it won't disappear nicely. Right, this is a really light color, so probably wouldn't have been a problem, but yeah. It was funny because my husband was saying the other day, oh, sorry, I'm being a perfectionist. And I'm like, dude, do you know me? Because I'm pretty picky with that. So I'm not going to complain when you do it. It was, once again, still playing Tears of the Kingdom, and you're able to build a house for Link. So you get to buy all these different modules and put them together. So you can buy like study, living room, kitchen, bedroom, that kind of thing. You could even buy like a paddock for your horse and all this, shield room, sword room. So there were 15 units, so it was taking forever to put them together just right. And of course they also have to fit like inside this one area. The guy says he will do a house inspection when you're done, and you have to fit inside the ropes. So yeah, it took quite a few tries of changing things around, but it's pretty cool. Because yeah, in the previous game, Breath of the Wild, you could buy him a house, but you couldn't modify it or anything, so. But yeah, it's for fun, plus also in the game, you can go there and rest without having to pay for anything like you do at an inn. And you can store extra weapons and stuff there, so that's cool. Oh, they even had, you can take pictures in the game, and you could actually have someone say that they would make a painting with any of your pictures, so you can put art on the walls too and stuff. It's pretty fun. Yeah, oh, look at that. I highlighted the wrong. Yeah, there we go. Once again, well, actually, I picked up the wrong one. but it's okay because I only did the one stitch that it was parked in, which needs to be done anyway. Yep, silly me. Gotta pay attention. And again, this is why I grid. If without those grid lines, I would have messed that up. Then it can often spend a long time trying to figure out where you went wrong. All right. Yeah, so some nice pretty pinks and purples here with these flowers. After slogging through that sky. I usually complain about confetti, but it's kind of a nice break actually for the moment. Oh, right there. Had my threads wrapped around the magnet, but that doesn't work so well when you're actually using the threads and want to pull one free. I have to unwrap them because otherwise they will tangle. We don't want that. So I usually do my diagonals go from the bottom left to the upper right. 3, 4, 5. But because the pillar curves this way, I kind of worked that way. A little lower down, I'll zoom out a bit on Pattern Keeper, you can see. Kind of slanted the other way for a bit, so yeah. Yes, it closes a bit in, but sometimes it's just easier to follow the shape the colors are making rather than trying to force it to go the other way. So yeah, sometimes I do that. But I'm still sort of staying along like sort of a even edge without skipping around as much as possible, so yeah. But there's no rules, right? Like I often say, this is a hobby, it should be fun. So if you want to stitch something different, go right ahead. Okay. See how long this piece is. Oh, and it's already threaded. Not very long. Okay. Just trying to decide if it's worth even bothering to carry this over. Park it. Yeah, well, I will anyway. It's not that far of a carry, so I do like to get every last bit of use out of my thread that I can. And because it's carrying over a part that's not stitched yet, it'll get secured as I stitch over it. Yeah, I can tell you that is very secure. I learned that the hard way when I had a thread that was kind of looped around the edge of my my Q-snap, and it got accidentally caught up on the back as I was stitching over it, and the end of it was stuck in the stitches I had made, and there was no picking that out. I had to cut the thread. So yeah, I can tell you that stitching over threads makes them very secure. I know there's some people who actually like to end their threads that way. They sort of weave it down and pull it through the fabric, and then once they've stitched over it, they trim them. So yeah, it's not my way, but that is another way that you can do it that works quite well. So yeah, I've kind of got the sky slanting one way and I'm slanting the other way, so it's kind of making a Y shape, but that's okay. I don't mind. Okay, oh, look at that. Yeah, when I wrapped that around the magnet, I trapped that thread there by accident, but that's okay. Yeah, my grid line there is broken. I was rolling or unrolling fabric, and I caught it on my finger and it snapped. So yeah, you can see the ends are right there. Oh well. I didn't want to pull it out and redo the whole grid line just for these sort of few missing stitches here, so I'll just have to make sure I count carefully. Especially when I'm parking. Yeah, there's so many colors here. Doesn't really matter which one I pick next. So yeah, that's why I chose this one, because I will end this off after doing this stitch and I'll have one less attached. So, goodness, that's a lot of pin stitches there, so I'm just gonna thread this one across the back. Okay. I don't know why. My threads seem to get uneven a lot lately. Like, it happens sometimes, but I don't know. The last few days it's been happening a lot, and I haven't changed anything about my stitching, at least as far as I know. So I don't know why. Odd. Okay. Yeah, so I did this kind of slanting the other way a couple times in my last project. Oops, that didn't work. There was a spot on Link's hat in the center where the tip of his hat sort of shaped like that. So yeah, just kind of made sense to just follow those colors the way they were on the pattern rather than trying to force it to go in this direction. I know a lot of people are really strict with theirs, but yeah, I think that would frustrate me too much. And I figure, you know, it's a natural sort of break point in the pattern, so if there was a tension line there, it wouldn't be noticeable in the finished piece because of the stitches are shaped that way anyway, the picture, so yeah, it wouldn't be a problem. Yeah, so here's a color that's used a fair bit. Yeah, because there's more big pink flowers at the bottom of this design too that use this color. There we go. Oops. There, one of my hairs getting stitched into the piece. No matter what I do, I think it's going to be a case of, yeah, doing very few stitches and parking again before I can do more, so it really doesn't matter which one I go to next. There we are. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Grid line should be there, so yeah, that would be right. I'll leave that threaded for now. I may unthread it later, we'll see whether I decide to carry more to the right or fill in more downwards to the left. I'll decide when I get there. Gotta shift. If I sit the wrong way, my thigh starts falling asleep. That's no fun. It doesn't seem to matter which way I cross my legs either. One of them is just more prone to doing it. I don't know why. It's always my left leg that seems to fall asleep a lot more easily than my right. I don't know whether there's some kind of physiological reason or I just sit funny or what. Yeah, good posture has not been my strong suit. It's one of the reasons I keep myself propped up with pillows behind me and stuff so I don't slouch. Yeah, I'm always trying to bug my kid to use one when he's working on his computer because he puts it on a TV tray, but then he hunches himself sort of over towards the computer. And I'm like, you know, if you put some pillows behind you so you don't have to hunch over so much, because I'm like, yeah, you're young, your back won't mind now, but yeah, you know, give it a few years and yeah, you could be paying for that later. So, but yeah, I suppose that's how it is. I mean, I'm sure my mom said the same stuff to me and I didn't listen to her either. Right? Yeah, I actually saw someone designed an office chair that had like the seat and then like another platform sort of below it. It was designed for people who want to sit cross-legged. Which I just thought was pretty darn brilliant. Yeah. It was better for your posture than just crossing your legs on the regular seat. Like it actually, because it was tucked underneath a bit, it kept like your hips and joints and everything sort of in a more, well, a position that's going to stress the joint less. So yeah, it's kind of cool. Yeah, I said with those chairs, I always have to use a pillow or something because I'm too short and the lumbar support hits me right in the worst place if I don't. So yeah, it sort of hits me like between the shoulder blades or in my mid back, and yeah. That's not where you want the curve to be. Okay, so I I may cut it off at this diagonal line here and then go further right. We will just see whether I will or not. Yeah, so far I only have sort of one threaded that's past that line, so I'm just going to leave it there for now unless I end up needing the needle. Oops, let's not wrap these around each other. There we go. Oh, and now it's forming a knot on the back. Don't do that either, please. Yeah, so I said this pattern isn't as confetti heavy as, say, my Soulful Mediterranean Tranquility was, but there are areas that, as you can see, definitely have quite a bit. Well, that's kind of inevitable in a full coverage design if it's detailed enough. I mean, even the ones I've seen that don't have as much of the color palette in it can still have a lot because, yeah, it, even amongst the big patches of, say, brown, there's still several colors in it to give it a subtle shading, so. Yeah, so I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna sort of cut it off there and do all that's below it before I go further to the right with that next one there. So yeah, this one's kind of outside the diagonal, but it's still threaded and it's right there, so might as well do it. Not much left to this one, but I think it can reach to here, to that stitch, and do it before I have to tie it off. So just gonna pin stitch it here so it stays taut, as the shorter pieces can tend to get pulled. I find the longer pieces aren't usually a problem, but yeah, the shorter ones can pull loose more easily. And I do not want that. I'm gonna check what shade is this color here. Not very dark. Okay, I don't want to risk that showing through, so I'm gonna instead draw this across the back here. Yeah, I don't have all the color symbols memorized yet, so. Usually once I get about, I don't know, 30,000 stitches in, I have the colors mostly memorized. If they've been used, of course. Sometimes certain colors only get used in one particular area of the pattern, so. Yeah, the ones that are used a lot start to memorize, whether they're dark or light colors, so I know whether it's safe to pin stitch with them or not. Okay, so unthread that. It's out of the diagonal. Now we get to do a few in a row now. Oh, accidentally started highlighting the already stitched ones as if I wanted to frog them, which I don't want to do. Okay, so this is line 330. And I believe this pattern is 550 wide. So I should reach the far right edge by the end of the summer, I say. We will see. I always lose some stitching time sort of end of August, early September because, yeah, dealing with all my apple harvest. Yeah, I actually made videos about how I make jam and juice if anyone's curious. Yeah, we still have so much juice. I went and counted in my cupboard the other day, and we still have like 27 jars, and that's of concentrate. So yeah, water it down to about half and half because it's really strong. I can it as a concentrate because it takes fewer jars that way. So yeah, so I always have to warn people before I give them any, don't drink this straight, you'll hurt your gut. And yeah, one of my husband's former co-workers, he's now since moved to a new city. It's all funny looking. Let's try and fix that. Yeah, ooh, what the heck happened there? Is that, oh, that's an end from the other side, I think. Let's see if we can get it go back. Yeah. Anyway, he moved to be closer to loved ones. But anyway, yeah, last year I was cleaning out the cupboard. I had a dozen or so jars left, so had my husband just take them to work, and anyone who wanted them could have some. And he warned them, as usual, make sure you water this down. It's too strong to drink it straight. And the former co-worker, he's like, oh, that's fine, I'm strong, it won't hurt me. Yeah, he drank about a third of a jar and then was like, oh, I should have listened. Because yeah, it was, yeah, it's very acidic because also the apples I have, they're not sweet. Yeah, they're quite sour, so I imagine it's probably made it even worse. Like, I do add some sugar to the juice so that it's not super sour, but yeah. That's one thing I really like about them is, yeah, they're not overly sweet, so when you have to bake with them or something, they don't get like cloyingly, sickeningly sweet. I don't like things to be too sweet, generally. Although, I don't know, I do crave sweets more as I get older. I was always craving the salty foods, like, so not cake, but yeah, chips, fries, yeah, pretzels. Those are the things I would crave. But I don't know, as I'm getting older, I start to crave sweets a bit more too. I mean, I would happily eat chocolate before and stuff, but yeah, I didn't crave it as much as I craved the saltiness, but now not so much. Yeah, I even remember one time after high school, we took public transit because we were out of the busing area for the school we went to. So we would have to transfer buses at the mall, and sometimes there was, like, I guess you could call it almost like a layover, right? Period of like 15-20 minutes. So sometimes we'd go in the mall and like buy snacks and stuff. And I remember I went and bought like a party-sized bag of chips because it was at the dollar store, and I reasoned to buy the little individual bag of chips was like, $1. To buy the big party-sized bag of chips that was like 3 times as many chips was like $2. And I'm like, well, why not, right? And so I had people, oh my God, as I'm sitting there on the bus munching away out of this ginormous bag of chips, I'm like, well, I'm not going to eat them all in one sitting, and it's a better deal, So Don't judge me. And I mean, I shared them with my sister and friends and stuff, so yeah. But yeah, it's just like, well, you know, for $2 I could buy 2 tiny little individual bags, or I could buy, yeah, a big one. No contest. My mom taught me to buy in bulk when you can. Yeah, I'm not sure junk food was what she had in mind, though. Yeah, so I kind of made the wrong movement with my neck the other day when I got up. But, yeah, it's fine now, so that's good. My chronic pain is much better since I did my acupuncture, so yeah, I'm really happy with that. They actually called me because my acupuncturist was out for a while dealing with some family stuff, and then they called me and, oh, she's back if you want to book more appointments. And I'm like, actually, my pain's been good, so if I get a flare-up, I'll call you guys, but for the moment, I don't seem to need it. Thank goodness. Yeah. I was glad I decided to try it. Yeah, it's just wild to me, like all my neck issues are basically, I think, down to, I slept on a wrong pillow one night when I was a kid. It was one of those curvy pillows that's supposed to support your neck better than a regular pillow. Yeah, I don't know, I must have slept on it wrong or something. I was, oh, I think I was like 9, yeah. And yeah, I was stretching the morning after I used it, and I heard something in my neck go click, and then everything just locked up on that side so bad. And yeah, I've had issues ever since, so really sucks. Yeah, and like I said, it was some expensive pillow. My mom tried it and didn't like it, so I tried it, and then yeah. And yeah, I've had flare-ups from that side ever since, so yeah, I don't recommend those. I actually went and found the flattest pillow that I had that I could, and my neck pain is much better when I use that. Yeah, I always have to bring my own when we travel because hotels, they give you these huge fat pillows that are like, you know, a foot thick or something, and it's like, yeah, that'll definitely wind me up in excruciating pain if I try to sleep on that. Well, even we went to visit my husband's parents, and they had a bed for us, and she was surprised we had our duffel bag of pillows because my husband likes his own pillow too, same thing. He likes the flatter ones. And she says, oh, you brought your own pillows? And I said, oh, my neck needs it. Yeah. It's too picky. I have to be sleeping with my head and neck in just the right position, or I'm going to pay for it later. Even then, I had to make sure I packed my heating pad patches. The ones they have that have like menthol, and some of them have capsicum in them. Yeah, it feels like having a heating pad stuck to you, and yeah, those are invaluable. The most painful part I find of those is having to peel them off at the end of the day. Ugh. Yeah, and then we have a TENS machine, the the one that gives the little electric shocks, but you can't use it in conjunction with the muscle rub or something or you'll get burns. Guess how I know? Yeah. I don't know. I found it useful sometimes, but then I don't know, maybe I got immune to it or something and it just didn't help that much. So yeah, my husband got it after his back injury. Thankfully, he doesn't need it anymore. Yeah, this was way back when you couldn't buy them over the counter. You can now, but yeah, at least where we lived back then, you had to get them basically prescribed to you. Okay. So yeah, like I say, I don't always strictly follow the diagonal here because the diagonal's sort of right there, and so technically I should go back to the top and carry on, but I'm just going to sort of carry on downwards as far as it makes sense to do, and then I'll go back to the top. Like I said, there's no rules. Yeah, so I was saying about, my kiddo has his driver's license now, and yeah, he was driving away one day, and my next door neighbor, she sort of stood there watching him because, yeah, she's known him since he was born. Well, since before he was born, yeah. When we moved into this house, I was in my first trimester, and she came over to say hi and introduce themselves, so yeah. Yeah, just hard to believe. They do grow up so quickly. I remember thinking about that when I was a kid, like, why do adults say that? Each year takes so long, but yeah, when you're an adult and you've lived longer, your perception of time is different. Yeah, for the youngster, that's their entire life, but yeah, for us, maybe it's only half of it or less than half of it, so yeah. Okay, 38, 36. Pardon me. Let's see. Yeah, probably gonna have multiple threads with this because they're kind of scattered around. Yeah, so the other day I watched fairly, like, not new but more recent movie. What was it called? The Electric Life of Louis Wayne or something like that. It's on Prime, starring what's his name, Benedict Cumberbatch. And yeah, he was an artist from the late 1800s, early 1900s, who painted cats a lot, did illustrations of cats, but like anthropomorphized them, gave them big eyes. And apparently before that, having cats as a pet was just not really a thing. People kept them for catching mice and stuff, but it was dogs that were the dominant domesticated, pet. And apparently his paintings and art and everything was so wildly popular that, yeah, like people started to have cats as pets. And, now it's almost like an even split of, if people ask, are you a cat person or a dog person and stuff. So yeah, I didn't know that. I thought that was pretty cool. Okay, man, trying to separate these threads here, but they are being really tricky. There we go. Yeah. Sometimes when you're pulling one free, they can just kind of twist and then grab and not want to let go. Bit of a pain, but I did manage to get them apart without having to cut anything, so that was good. Yeah, I wouldn't mind a cat, but my husband's allergic, so that's not happening. Yeah, and I mean, I do like dogs, but they do need a lot of your attention. So, I'll enjoy other people's dogs, but I don't want to own one. Yeah. Oh, we've got a end there. There. There we go. So it looks like I will need that needle. So I will unthread that one. Just gonna wrap these out of my way. So yeah, as you can see, I'm kind of going into the next diagonal sort of from the middle here, not from the top, but that's all right. Okay. Can get one more, so again, I will do that. This is a color that's been used a lot in every design I've done lately. Yeah, this kind of light cocoa color. Yeah, lots of confetti here. Okay. 38, 35. Let's see, how much is this used? Oh, not a lot. I was trying to decide whether I wanted to put it out in my working tray, but no, it doesn't get used a lot yet. Yeah, 46, almost 4,700, so it must get used a lot elsewhere in the design, but not yet. Probably further down in the big pink flowers is where this color will get used. There we go. Okay. Yes, I wonder how far I'll have to get into this project before I see a 0. Usually I have to pass the halfway mark, I find, to get to a 0. But yeah, it depends on the pattern, of course. Okay. Oh, goodness. Wow, really? Ugh. Tied a knot in itself already. There we go. I suppose if it's going to happen before I've actually secured it to the fabric is probably the best time. Makes it the easiest to deal with. Okay. Still doesn't want to. There we go. Oh, goodness. There we go. Yeah, there we go. They were uneven, so I had to smooth them out again. Okay, right. I'm going to do another thread for that one, just sort of the way it worked out. Or I could carry the other back up. Let's see, how long is that one that I have parked there? No, it's short. Yes, so that's why I did that. And then I'm going to start a new one and carry it over to the right. Never hurts to check. I one time did a whole bunch of shifting things around so that I could use a thread that was already parked, only to discover it was only long enough for one stitch. It was like, oh, that was a total waste of effort there. So yeah. I always like to check what I have already parked nearby before I add a new one, just in case. Yeah, like I've said before, I have to make a break point somewhere, so this sort of seems to be it. Like I often say, diagonal-ish, not strict diagonal. At least that's how I do it. I actually find it pretty neat how there's so many different ways you can stitch and then end up with the same result. Man, my stand is really wobbly today. I mean, it always is a bit, but yeah. I don't know, today it seems to be wobbling a lot. Oh, goodness, there. It's not being cooperative. Well, the nice thing is, because I don't leave gaps, when this, you know, was a whack of confetti, but I know that it's done and everything is filled in. There are no missing ones I have to go and fill in later and potentially miss. I have done that before. It could still happen, of course. I'm not perfect, but I find it certainly happens way less often to me when I stitch it this way. Okay. Okay. All right, so I'm going to set that aside as well. Get all my threads together here. There we go. And I'm going to head back into this left-hand corner here a bit and stitch my way outwards. Okay, 9, 3, 1. Okay, so that also means, yeah, he's wrapped around this, around that magnet there, so I unwrap it and just hook it under, not spin it all the way around. Makes it easier to pull the threads free. So I do that when I'm going to use a section, and I wrap it around the magnet when I'm not going to be stitching with it for a while, so that it stays securely out of my way. Okay. Ooh. Oh my goodness, pardon me. Ugh. I'm gonna end up with a few threads of this color, I think, because yeah, they kind of go in columns there. So rather than jumping back and forth, I'm gonna do them as separate threads. That's what I usually do. Again, I'll decide when I get there. Oh my gosh, that is no good. There we go. I hate when it does that. It shredded the fibers apart instead of it all going through the needle like half of it did. That's no good. That was quite long. I guess I didn't have any smaller bits left. Yeah. Usually I would choose a smaller piece for when there's only one in the area and it's longer than I want to carry it, but I guess I didn't have any shorter ones available at the time. Okay. Yeah, there was one stitcher who said she never carries more than 3 stitches away before starting and ending and restarting, and it's just like, wow, that's dedication. But I do have to say the back of her work looked immaculate. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna carry it to here. It's sort of borderline for how far I like to carry it, but I will do that. Yeah, so it was funny. I was saying my son is in the esports team, and they got eliminated from the tournament, but they had just for fun. I think it was last week, and the kids played against the teachers, the students against the teachers, and the students won. Then they got to have pizza. So I said, of course the students won, right? Yeah, it took us a year and a half of owning Mario Kart 8 before I managed to beat my son in one race. He still won the cup. Like, it was, a set of 4 races. I won one of them, but that was it. But I celebrated that because, yeah. It took me that long to manage to win once against him. Oh, dear. Yeah, there's a couple of them I can't play, though, because I get motion sick really easily, even from just stuff that I see on a screen. And there's one where you're driving one way and the panels of the road or whatever it is are going the other way. And, oh, yeah, seeing the two going past each other in opposite directions just makes me, feel gross. So I always say we can't pick that track. Anything else I'll play, but not that one. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't used to have that problem when I was a kid. We went to Disneyland when I was in 3rd grade, and we went on the Star Wars ride. And it was one of those, like, you sit in the seat and it's a huge screen and the seats kind of tilt a little bit so you feel like it's actually moving. But most of it is visual, right? Most of it is just you seeing it and your brain thinks you're moving because... And, yeah, we went through that one like 4 times in a row and I was absolutely fine. And then I went again when I was in high school. I think I was 15, something like that. And we went to Universal Studios, and they had a similar ride like that. And oh my gosh, I was so sick. Like, I had to close my eyes maybe 30 seconds in, because otherwise I would have actually been ill. Like, and then after that, they wanted to buy us ice cream, and I'm like, I can't eat it. And they're like, why? And I'm like, because I feel, like, motion sick. And they're like, but why? We didn't do anything. And I'm like, nope. But the watching that video did it. Yeah. It sucks. I had to miss out on most of it because it was quite fun. It was they had it was like Back to the Future, so you were in the DeLorean, and it goes back in time to like dinosaur times, and then you end up flying around, and like a huge brontosaurus tries to grab you and grab the car out of the air and all sorts of stuff. And yeah, unfortunately, I had to close my eyes and miss most of it because, yeah, it made me nauseated. So I don't know how I'd be now, but I don't know, not great. Whenever we go for for a trip to visit family, and we have to drive a long way, I always make sure to pack my pressure point wristbands because, yeah, I get motion sick way too easily, and those do seem to help. Yeah, I wore them a lot in my first trimester as well for the same reason. Nice, way to help deal with your nausea without having to take medication for it, which of course I didn't want to do when I was pregnant. So I said, yeah, I wore them constantly. I even slept in them. I only took them off when I had to take a shower, and I said I could feel the difference from not wearing them for even that time it took. Yeah. It was like, get out of the shower, grab a towel, and the next thing I would grab is the wristbands and put them back on because, yeah. Ooh. I was lucky, at least. After the first trimester passed, I wasn't so bad. My poor mom with me, she said she was horribly sick right up until I was born. And my mother-in-law said the same thing. My husband and I are both oldest. So, yeah. Yeah, the first one can be the hardest. Okay. look at that. I am out of needles. Oh, wait, I got one over here. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I have a lot of threads attached, so that's another reason why sometimes I will just decide to not leave a thread or a needle on a thread if I know I'm not going to get to it for a while because I need it for other threads. So I only have I do stitch with multiple needles, but there is still a limit. Yeah, and really short ones I tend to not leave threaded because they're just going to come unthreaded anyway. Or a lot of times what happens is like this, when I try to pull them out from a whack of needles, they get unthreaded anyway. So, oh well. What you gonna do? Yeah, I can thread a needle pretty quick now. Actually, I remember when I was in high school, I was in a textiles, arts, and crafts class, and there was one girl who would always bring me her needle over to thread for her because she couldn't do it. Yeah, she actually picked up cross stitch because she saw me and my best friend were in that class, and that's what we like to do. Because yeah, it was one of those. It was a shorter course. It was only half a semester, so basically it was really nice because we could do whatever craft we wanted as long as we turned in a certain number of crafts in the time, and as long as there was some different ones. Couldn't all be the same craft. So yeah, we did, best friend and I, we did some beaded necklaces, and I'm trying to remember what else we did. Yeah, I think I made a little pillow or something, and then after that it was just cross stitch all day. Yeah. Yeah, they actually had little stuffed animal kits you could order through the school. Yeah, they were pretty darn cute. I didn't get one, unfortunately. I didn't have enough money to pay for one, but yeah, a lot of people did that for one of their projects. Yeah, so she had some ones that she did teach us how to do and you could follow along, but you could also choose to just do your own project. So yeah, because she had one that was sort of like a little stuffy frog that had, you know, beans in its bottom, and it was made of felt, and it had the little arms were actually two separate pieces of felt, like fused together, so they were different colors. So you would have like dark blue and light blue, you know, one on each side. Yeah, they were pretty cute, but I didn't make any. Well, the thing is, we did have to buy our own supplies, so yeah, there was that too. Yeah, I had a paper route at that point, but didn't pay very much, especially since actually me and my sister shared it. So yeah, we would each sort of do. Well, it was kind of nice because then you didn't have to go either back and forth across the street or double back, because we would walk down the street and one would do one side of the street and the other one would do the other side. So yeah, it was kind of nice when we get to the end of the road, the whole thing was done. So yeah, we split the work and split the money. So, but yeah, it sure didn't pay very much. I think it was like 5 cents a paper, because it was just the free city paper, right? It wasn't one of the subscription papers, so yeah, they did not pay very much. Yeah, it was like 5 cents a paper, and I think we had maybe 80 houses to deliver to twice a week. So yeah, you do the math. We weren't rich, that's for sure, but I mean, hey, you know, when you're a kid, you'll take pretty much anything. Yeah, you don't generally get a lot of money. Yeah, that and babysitting, of course. Yeah. We had some cousins who were several years younger, so yeah. We would do that. And yeah, again, my sister and I, we would share it and share the money, so yeah, we were basically best friends, so. Yeah, it's funny because we had friends who were like, aren't sisters supposed to hate each other? And we're like, well, no one told us. Yeah, we liked sharing a room a lot of times, and we'd actually ask to share a room. You know, a lot of kids, they don't want to, and sometimes there isn't space, but yeah, no, we like to share a room. Yeah, unfortunately we live far apart now, so we don't get to see each other very often. I was really disappointed the last time we went back to visit family. Ended up being the same week that she and her family went camping, so I was like, ah, darn it, so we didn't get to see each other in person. I mean, we're on social media together and stuff, and we message all the time, but I mean, it's not the same, you know, as getting to see someone in person, right? Oh my gosh. There we go. Okay, 3787. Yeah, we were 2.5 years apart in age, because I had people who would think we were really close in age, but not that close. Not that far, but yeah. Not like my husband and his next oldest sibling brother. They're a year and 4 days apart. Yeah, they're very, very close in age, so. Yeah, people mistook my sister and I for twins all the time when we were growing up. Oh, even when we got older, I was working at a newspaper office, and I remember a guy walked in to place an ad one day, and I'm working the reception. So he walks in and he says, I know this face. Do you have a sister who works at a diner in Mission? And I'm like, yeah, how the heck did you know that? You know? And he's like, oh, well, you look just like her. So yeah, it was quite funny. Oh, where is my 327 envelope? Did I not put it back in the right spot? Let me take a look. I wonder if I've used this color yet. I may have forgotten to pull it for this pattern. That has happened to me before, where I thought I pulled all the colors for my tub. And it turned out I missed one. So let me check. Yeah, it's not in my other tub. So I have another tub pulled for my firefly project, but no, it's not there either. So I'm thinking I forgot to pull it. All right. So I won't be stitching that one next. I'll just do a different color for now until I can track that envelope down. I'll probably have to take a break soon. Yeah, been sitting here for quite a while. Yeah, it's funny saying my sister and I look alike. Our sons look rather similar too. They're a few years apart in age because, you know, mine's a teenager and I think hers is 7. But yeah, when I see pictures of him, compare them to pictures of my son at the same age, yeah, the resemblance is strong. You can tell they're cousins because, yeah. I remember seeing an article where a set of identical twins ended up marrying another set of identical twins, and then they both had sons around the same time, and they looked like twins, so that was just wild, yeah. I mean, I guess it's all similar DNA, but I mean, even among siblings, it's not always that strong, right? Yeah. Because, like, you know, I see families that have, you know, 5 or 6 kids and they don't all look alike, not always. So, yeah, even though it's the, you know, same genes. Okay, so we started at around 350. We're past 500, so yeah, even with all that confetti, we still managed to make a good amount of progress. Yeah, we filled all this in pretty much. So I am definitely happy with that. So yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap it up here pretty soon. Okay. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna take a break there. So yeah, as usual, thank you so much for joining me today and hope to see you here again another time. All right, thanks everyone. Bye.